A girl calls 911 whispering he found me. But her phone had been turned off for 3 days, and the location it pinged from shouldn't even exist. This is one of those stories that sticks with you, a case file that feels like it's been ripped from a horror movie. But for the people involved, it was terrifyingly real. It's a puzzle box of impossibilities, and the deeper you go, the more it defies every law of physics and logic we know. The year is 2017. A 911 operator picks up a call. The voice on the other end is faint, a desperate whisper from a 16-year-old girl named Lily Sanders. The official call log documents her words, filled with terror. He's outside. For any operator, this is a code red, a high-priority emergency. But this call was different. This call was impossible. Why? Because the phone Lily was supposedly calling from had been turned off. It's not just off, but its battery had been physically removed. And most bizarre of all, the phone was locked away in a police evidence bag. The police had possession of her phone because 3 days before this impossible call was made, Lily Sanders had been reported missing. So, how could a dead phone sitting in a police station make a call? Investigators were baffled. They pulled the evidence bag, confirmed the phone was exactly as they had left. It powered down, battery out, sealed. There was no tampering, yet the call had happened. The operator heard her. The system logged it. This wasn't a glitch. It was a ghost in the machine. A voice from a phone that had no power, no signal, no way to transmit anything at all. The investigation into Lily's disappearance suddenly took a turn into the truly inexplicable. And the first question wasn't, where is Lily? But how are we even hearing her? The call itself lasted only 19 seconds. 19 seconds of pure, unfiltered dread that sent a chill down the spine of everyone who listened to it. In the background of Lily's hushed voice, you can hear distinct, unsettling sounds. First, the slow, rhythmic crunch of footsteps on gravel. It's a heavy sound, deliberate. Then, a low, guttural breathing, not Lily's, but someone else's. A man. It's close to the receiver, as if he's right there with her. And then Lily's final heartbreaking plea before the line abruptly cuts out. Please don't let him take me again. Again. That single word recontextualized everything. This wasn't the first time. Investigators immediately tried to trace the call's origin. Standard procedure. But this was anything but a standard case. The signal didn't ping from the police station where the phone was physically located. Instead, the call triangulated to a completely different location, an empty, desolate field about 30 miles away. When officers arrived, the scene was even stranger than they could have imagined. There was nothing there. No houses, no buildings, no people. Just an open expanse of dry grass under a gray sky. And right in the dead center of that field, as if placed there for a stage play, was a single, solitary wooden chair. It was old, weathered, and completely out of place. It was the only object for miles around. The signal that carried Lily's voice had originated from this exact spot, but Lily wasn't there. The phone wasn't there. There was just the chair waiting. The crime scene unit began processing the area around the wooden chair, and what they found only deepened the mystery. They discovered footprints in the dirt, small, bare footprints, consistent with a teenage girl. But the pattern was bizarre. The prints led up to the chair and then circled it, over and over and over again. They were packed tightly together, overlapping, suggesting someone had been pacing in circles for a very, very long time. But here's the truly disturbing part. The footprints never led away from the chair. They just stopped. It was as if the person making them had simply vanished into thin air. There was no exit trail, no sign of a struggle, no vehicle tracks, nothing. Just the chair and the endless circular path of a ghost. As if the scene wasn't chilling enough, audio analysts back at the lab were meticulously cleaning up the 19-second recording. They filtered out the static, isolated Lily's voice, the footsteps, the breathing. And that's when they found something else. Hidden beneath the other sounds, almost subliminal, was a second voice. It wasn't Lily. It wasn't the man breathing. It was a whisper, cold and clear, and it spoke just 3 words that turned the entire case on its head. It said, "You never left." But before we get to why her phone shouldn't have been able to turn on, before we dive into the technical impossibilities that have stumped experts to this day, you need to hear what her mother revealed later. Because the strange events didn't start with the 911 call. they started much earlier. Desperate for answers, investigators sat down with Lily's mother again. They asked her about Lily's friends, her habits, any recent changes in her behavior. And that's when the mother, her face pale with regret, recalled a conversation from the week before Lily vanished. She said Lily had come to her, deeply unsettled. Lily told her, "There's a man who stands outside my window at night." The mother, trying to be rational, looked outside. The yard was empty. She told Lily it was just her imagination, a bad dream. But Lily was insistent. She swore he was there every night, just standing and watching. Then Lily said something that her mother dismissed as a teenage fantasy, something she now couldn't stop thinking about. Lily said, "He whispers my name. I'm inside my head." She wasn't hearing it with her ears. She was hearing it in her thoughts. It was a voice that didn't need to travel through the air to reach her. At the time, it sounded like a cry for attention. Now, it sounded like a warning. With this new information, the focus shifted back to the phone. How did it make the call? The department brought in top-tier phone forensics experts and cellular engineers to analyze the device. They ran every diagnostic imaginable. Results came back conclusive and utterly baffling. The phone's internal logs showed no activity. There was no record of it powering on. Battery logs showed zero discharge. The bootloader, the most fundamental software that starts up a phone, had not been initiated. There were no outgoing signals logged from the phone's modem. In every measurable, technical sense, that phone did not and could not have made a call. It was a brick, a paperweight. Yet the 911 call is real. It exists in the system. The operator's recording is real. Frustrated, the lead investigator pressed one of the engineers, an expert with 20 years in the field. Then how did it happen? The engineer took a long pause before he answered, choosing his words carefully. He said, "That phone didn't send the call. It couldn't have. There's only one other explanation, and it's not a technical one. Something out there, something mimicked it, spoofed the phone's unique identifiers and created a perfect digital echo of a call that never actually happened on the device." He explained it was like seeing a reflection in a mirror when the person isn't actually standing there. Something had broadcast Lily's voice, using her phone's identity as a mask from a field 30 miles away. The case went cold. The footprints that led nowhere, the impossible call, the man who whispered in Lily's mind, it was a collection of dead ends. Lily Sanders was never found. The official file was eventually moved to the cold case unit, another tragedy with no resolution. The family was left with no body, no answers, just a lingering, unbearable silence. For a year, that's where the story ended. And then it happened again. Exactly 1 year to the day after Lily's impossible call, the same 911 dispatch center received another alert. It was from the same number. Lily Sanders' number. The operator picked up, heart pounding. The line was open for only 2 seconds this time. There was no background noise, no footsteps, no breathing. Just a single, faint whisper, a voice that was barely there before the line went dead. And all it said was, "Still here?" Who or what made those calls? Was it Lily, trapped in some unimaginable place between worlds? Or was it the entity she saw outside her window, the one that whispered in her head, playing a cruel game with those left behind? This case remains open, a digital ghost story that defies explanation. Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you found this story as haunting as I did, make sure to like and subscribe for more dives into the unknown. Thanks for watching.